Hello everyone, I'm Eve from Susan's family. Today, I'm bringing you the Prosperous coconut from Fat Choy plant. This potted plant consists of the pot lid, the trunk, the leaves, and decorations. Crochet them in order, and then assemble after completion. First, let's learn how to crochet the pot. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. You will need to switch colors during the process. Before we start, let's go over the table. In the table, our plus number indicates the round number. The column for increases and decreases explanation shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting the current round, including any increases or decreases. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches after completing all the stitches in the current round. The stitch techniques used include X single crochet, V single crochet increase, a single crochet decrease, chain stitch, and slip stitch. Now, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method for better visibility. I will use cotton yarn for this demonstration. The colors are random. For specific yarn details, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. The foundation method is magic ring, which means the casting on method is the adjustable magic ring. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Pick up the yarn tail with your right hand. Wrap it around your left index finger once. And pinch where the loops overlap with your right thumb and index finger. Take it out. Then wrap the yarn tail around your left little finger once. Pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. And transfer the loop to between your left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. And move the hook between these 2 points. Insert the hook into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. And draw the yarn through. There is 1 loop on the hook. Make another chain stitch to secure it. Yarn over. Draw through the loop. 1 chain stitch is completed. Pull tight. The magic ring is now completed. The loop on the hook should be slightly loose to make it convenient for crocheting later. Next, crochet the first round. Our 1 is 7x. The number before X indicates how many single crochets to make. Here it means to crochet 7 single crochets into the magic ring. This notation specifies that you should crochet 7 single crochets into the magic ring. Start with 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. This turning chain is not marked in the chart. But when crocheting in rounds, you need to crochet a turning chain at the beginning of each round. The turning chain for the single crochet does not count as a stitch. Then start crocheting single crochets. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again. And draw through both loops. 1 single crochet is completed. There will be a V shape formed by 2 yarns at the top right. This is the stitch of a single crochet. Place a marker on the stitch. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paperclip or safety pin instead. Continue with the second single crochet. Insert the hook into the large hole of the starting ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again, and draw through the 2 loops on the hook. The second single crochet is now completed. For the first round, you need to make 7 single crochets in total. Continue to complete the remaining single crochets. This completes the stitch pattern as shown in the chart. After that, close the magic ring. Tighten the yarn tail. This closes the ring. Then finish with a slip stitch in the first single crochet stitch of this round, which is where the marker is placed. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. And pull through all the loops on the hook. Completing the slip stitch. The chain formed by the slip stitch does not count as a stitch. Tighten it up. The slip stitch is not indicated in the chart. When crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten it. This completes the first round. Now, move on to the second round. For round 2, you will crochet 7 V stitches. The number before the V indicates how many single crochet increases to make in a row. Here, it means to work 7 single crochet increases consecutively. Work 1 chain as a beginning chain. Let me emphasize again. At the beginning of each round, start with a beginning chain. I won't repeat the instructions after this. In the first stitch of the first round, make a single crochet increase. This is where you insert your hook for the slip stitch. Work 2 single crochets in this spot. As you crochet, place the starting tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. 1 stitch. Place a marker. Insert the hook into the same stitch again and work a single crochet. Two stitches. The single crochet increase is now complete. Continue with a single crochet increase in the next stitch on the left. Don't forget to weave in the ends. The second single crochet increase is now complete. You need to work 7 single crochet increases in this round. For the remaining 5, all of them should be worked as 2 single crochets in each stitch. After completing the last single crochet increase, check the stitch count. Start counting the stitches from the marker position. 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, This round has a total of 14 stitches. The total number of stitches for each round is indicated in the corresponding table. I won't repeat this information going forward. Next, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pay attention. At the end of each round, you must join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Insert at the marker position. Yarn over, and pull the yarn through. Draw through all the loops on your hook. Pull tight. The slip stitch is completed. You can cut off the extra yarn tail from the starting chain directly. The second round is now completed. Continue with the third round. R3 is XV times 7. The parentheses indicate a group. Times several indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Start with one single crochet. Make a marker. This makes it easier to find the position for the slip stitch later. Mark the first stitch of each round. Work 2 single crochets into the same stitch next. The XV is now completed. Let me demonstrate this again. Start with one single crochet. Then work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. This is the second time. You need to repeat XV 7 times in this round. For the remaining 5 times, work 1 single crochet, then make 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. The third round is now completed. You can see that the right side texture is clear, while the wrong side texture is blurry. Now we will work on the fourth round. Start with one single crochet. Work one short needle increase next. Then work one single crochet. XV X is now completed. Let me demonstrate this again. Start with one single crochet. Then work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Continue with one single crochet. This is the second time. Follow the previous method to continue working. After completing all of them, join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The 4th round is now completed. Move on to the 5th round. Start with 3 single crochets. Then work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. V is now completed. Pay attention, the increase placement should follow the stitch pattern order in the table, do not adjust it arbitrarily. Continue working according to the previous method. Finish with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The 5th round is now completed. Let's take a look. A raised texture on the right side indicates 1 round. Now we have completed 5 rounds in total. For the 6th and 7th rounds as shown in the table, the stitch techniques used have all been demonstrated in detail before. The increases and decreases explanation has a similar meaning to what was shown previously. Just follow the stitch order in the table, and repeat the crocheting for the corresponding number of times. Continue using the method learned earlier, and follow the table to complete these 2 rounds. Next, we will crochet the 8th round. When you encounter BLO, it means to pick up the back loop only. That is, the strand of yarn farther from you. Then, refer to the chart to crochet the corresponding stitches. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. This completes the 8th round. For rounds 9 through 13, no new stitch techniques are used. Let me explain this part. In the table, R11 or 13, even 70x, means starting from the 11th round. 1 single crochet in each stitch. With each round having 70 stitches, continue crocheting until the end of the 13th round. Pay attention to not forgetting the beginning chains and slip stitches when crocheting. Complete these rounds using the previous method. Next, crochet round 14. This round starts with a color change. The color of the yarn for the change is specified in the table. Begin this round with 6 single crochets. Since the next stitch requires a color change, crochet 5 single crochets first. Change colors on the 6th stitch. The sample has already completed 5 single crochets. The pattern chart now shows red single crochets. Start with 1 incomplete single crochet. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. One incomplete single crochet is now done. Then, place the new yarn on your left hand. Yarn over and draw through. This completes one single crochet and the color change. We will call the original yarn color 1. The new yarn is color 2. Continue with 4 single crochets using color 2. For the next stitch, you need to change colors. First, work 3 single crochets. Change color on the 4th stitch. Do not wrap color 1 while crocheting. Hide the yarn tail of color 2 as you crochet. Crochet 1 incomplete single crochet. Then pull color 1 through. This completes the 4th stitch. Pay attention that color 1 should not be pulled too tight. Now the 4 single crochets with color 2 are done. This also completes the second color change. Now a group, 6x, 4x, is completed. Next, start the next group with color 1. Do not wrap color 2 while crocheting. First, crochet 5 single crochets. Change to color 2 on the 6th stitch. Pull color 2 through. Then crochet 3 single crochets with color 2. Change back to color 1 on the 4th stitch. This completes another group. For all subsequent color change positions, work an incomplete stitch in the previous stitch. Then switch to the required yarn and pull through. This completes the color change. Continue crocheting with the new yarn using the corresponding stitch pattern. Pay attention that when changing colors, don't pull the yarn too tight. Everyone, follow this method until you reach the last stitch. The sample swatch has now reached the last stitch. Finish the last single crochet with color 2. The first stitch of the next round is also worked with color 2. For the last stitch, there's no need to change colors. Just pull through directly. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. This completes round 14. Move on to round 15. This round also uses 2 colors, alternating crocheting the corresponding stitch patterns. Everyone, follow the previous color change method. Complete this round. End with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Leave a 5 cm tail for color 1 before breaking the yarn. This completes round 15. Now move on to round 16. Start with 2 single crochets. As you work down and encounter A, it indicates a single crochet decrease. Insert the hook into the front loop of the stitch first, which is the strand of the stitch closest to you, then insert the hook into the front loop of the next stitch on the left. You should have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through the first 2 loops. Now you have 2 loops remaining. Yarn over and draw through both loops. The single crochet decrease is completed. That completes 1 single crochet decrease. Continue with 6 more single crochets. This completes 1 group, 2x, 6x. Crochet another group. Start with 2 single crochets. Then make a single crochet decrease. Let me demonstrate this again. Insert the hook into the front loops of the next 2 stitches on the left. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through all loops. The second single crochet decrease is now completed. Continue to finish the round. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. This completes the 16th round. For the last round, refer to the pattern and finish the final stitch using the previous method. After completing the final stitch, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Then crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. This completes the pot. Next, let's learn how to make the pot lid. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Follow the previous method and use the corresponding color yarn to complete the pot lid. Leave a 60 cm yarn tail at the end for sewing. This completes the explanation of the pot lid. Next, let's learn how to make the trunk. It is divided into large and small trunks. Both start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The method is similar to that of the pot. The only difference is in the number of stitches and rounds. Pay attention to not making the starting ring too tight. Follow the previous method and complete the last stitch of round 2 for the large trunk. Complete the last stitch of round 2. Note that working even will make the fabric naturally curl. Adjust the fabric so the right side faces out. Then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. For the remaining rounds, refer to the pattern to crochet. Finally, leave a 30 cm yarn tail for sewing. Next, stuff the large trunk with fiberfill and wire. Start by inserting the fiberfill. Then cut 6 5 cm lengths of wire and fold them in half. Insert these into the large trunk. This completes the explanation of the tree trunk. Now let's learn how to make the leaves. There are 3 types of leaves, leaf 2 and leaf 3, all starting with a slip knot and crocheted in rounds counterclockwise. During the process, you need to crochet with the wire included. The leaves use new stitch techniques. W short needle 3 in 1, T half double crochet, Ta half double crochet decrease, and CH1 picket. Now I will demonstrate using leaf 3 as an example. For leaf 1 and leaf 2, you can start by learning those first, and then follow the chart to crochet. Now, let's show. Starting with leaf 3, first, begin with a chain stitch. This means starting with a foundation chain. Chain 10 stitches. Take out the corresponding color of yarn. Hang the yarn on your left hand. Hold the crochet hook in your right hand. Place it below the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Use your left thumb and middle finger to pinch the crossing point of the loop. Place the hook on the left side of the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch, and you need to tighten it. Now, start crocheting chain stitches. Be mindful not to make the starting chain too tight. Follow this method. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Place a stitch marker on the last stitch. This completes the starting chain. Next, crochet the first round. Cut a 40 cm piece of wire. For this round, you need to wrap the wire as you crochet. Leave a 5 cm length, then place it behind the starting chain stitch. According to the chart below. Start crocheting from the second chain from the end. As you crochet, include the wire in your stitches. Then, on the last chain stitch, crochet a 3 single crochets in 1 stitch, SC3 in 1. That means making 3 single crochets in the same position. Bend the wire. This completes one SC3 in 1. Next, match up with the remaining 2 strands from the starting chain. Correspondingly crochet 7 single crochets. Continue wrapping the wire as you crochet. You can also hide the starting yarn tail as you crochet. Next, in the insertion point of the first single crochet, make a single crochet increase, SC2 in 1. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. This completes the first round. Tidy up the wire to keep the fabric flat. Continue to crochet the second round. This round also needs to wrap the wire. After completing the starting chain, make a single crochet increase, SC2 in 1. Bend the wire. Next, make a half double crochet, HDC. Yarn over and insert the hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again. Draw through all loops on the hook. That completes one half double crochet, HDC. Next, make 2 chain stitches, CH. Then make 2 slip stitches, SL street. The slip stitches here do not need to be pulled tight. Then make 2 chain stitches, CH. Next, make a half double crochet decrease, HDC decrease. Start with an incomplete half double crochet. Yarn over and insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. That completes one incomplete half double crochet. Next, make another incomplete half double crochet in the same stitch on the left. The second incomplete half double crochet is now done. Finally, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. That completes one half double crochet decrease, HDC decrease. Continue following the chart to crochet around the wire until you reach the square brackets. When you encounter ch1 picket X, it means to work the stitches in the square brackets into the same stitch. Start with a single crochet, SC. Then make a ch1 picket. First, make 1 chain stitch, ch. Next, insert the hook under the front loop of the single crochet stitch, and also under the bar below. Make a slip stitch, SL street. That completes one ch1 picket. Then work another single crochet, SC, in the same position. This completes the content within the square brackets. Continue crocheting following the chart. After completing the last stitch, join with a slip stitch, SL street, to the first stitch. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Leave 5 cm of the wire and cut it. Complete the remaining leaves in the same way, using the corresponding color yarn. At the end, leave a 5 cm yarn tail, cut the yarn, and weave in the ends. This completes the explanation for leaf 3. The crocheting method for leaf 3 is similar to leaf 2, with only the stitch count differing. Make sure to wrap the wire in every round while crocheting. At the end, leave a 5 cm yarn tail, cut the yarn, and weave in the ends. Everyone should now complete leaf 2. The crocheting method for leaf 1 is similar to leaf 3, but the stitch count and number of rounds are different. Note that for leaf 1, do not wrap the wire in the second round. Wrap the wire only in the first and third rounds while crocheting. For the third round, pull the wire over and wrap it directly. For one of the leaf ones, leave a 30 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. For the rest of the leaf ones, leave a 5 cm yarn tail, cut the yarn, and weave in the ends. Everyone refer to the pattern and complete these leaves. This completes the explanation for all the leaves. Next, we will learn about decorations, which include large knots, small knots, large coconuts, and small coconuts. Let's start with the large knot. Begin with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The method is similar to the first few rounds of the flower pot, but the number of stitches and rounds are different. At the end, you need to close the opening. Then pull the yarn. Everyone should use the corresponding yarn, and refer to the pattern to crochet until there is one round remaining. Now, crochet the final round. First, stuff it with an appropriate amount of filling cotton. Firmly stuff the first 2 rounds. Then work a single crochet decrease. Continue crocheting while stuffing with filling cotton. You can use the hook handle to assist in stuffing. Make sure the large knot is firmly stuffed. Then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Now proceed to close the opening. Stretch the loop. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and fasten off the yarn. Thread the yarn tail into a darning needle. Then thread through the front loops of the last round stitches sequentially. Once done, tighten it slightly. Press to lay flat. This completes the closing of the opening. Next, proceed with threading. First, pass the yarn tail through the center of the closure. Then exit from any stitch in the second round. Next, insert into a stitch on the right side. And then come out from the center of the closure again. Slightly tighten. Insert back into the center. Exit from the adjacent stitch. Insert on the left side. Pay attention to always entering and exiting from the center of the closure at the bottom. Repeat this process to secure the entire round. After all the yarn tails are secured, adjust the shape. Do not cut the yarn tails yet. This completes one large medallion. For the remaining large medallions, everyone completes the rest using this method. This concludes the tutorial for the large medallions. Next, we'll learn how to make small medallions. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. First, follow the chart to complete the first round. The sample has now completed the first round. Next, work on the second row. Work 2 chains as the beginning chain for the half double crochet. This counts as 1/2 double crochet. Then work 1/2 double crochet increase in the first stitch. This means working 2 half double crochets in the same position. Hide the yarn tail as you crochet. Now you have completed 1/2 double crochet increase. This also completes the content within the first set of square brackets. Continue following the chart to complete the remaining set of square brackets. Start with a half double crochet increase. Then work 2 chains. Follow with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Work 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 30 cm tail, and cut the yarn. This completes one small coin stitch. Complete the remaining small coin stitches using the same method. That concludes the explanation for the small coin stitch. Next, we will learn how to make large and small coconut stitches. Both start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The method is similar to the large coin stitch. The only difference is in the number of stitches and rounds. Stuff a small amount of fiberfill at the end. Leave a 30 cm tail, and close the opening. Refer to the chart to complete the large and small coconut stitches in the corresponding quantities. This completes the explanation for all the decorations. Next, we will assemble the pieces. Sew the completed parts together according to the assembly instructions. Start by sewing the flower pot to the flower pot lid. Thread the reserved yarn tail of the flower pot lid into a darning needle. Align the slip stitch marks. Use the whip stitch to sew the last round of both fabric pieces together. The needle comes out from the inside of a stitch on the flower pot lid. Then go into a stitch on the flower pot from the outside. This sews 2 stitches together. Continue coming out from the inside. And then go in from the outside. Keep sewing one stitch to another, matching them up. When you reach halfway through, insert the waiting beads. And add some fiber fill. You can make it firmly stuffed. Shape the flower pot as you sew. Continue matching and sewing together. Finally, tie a knot. Insert the needle into the flower pot. Trim any excess yarn tails. This completes the sewing of the flower pot and its lid. Next, sew the trunk onto the flower pot lid. Start with the main trunk. Bend the wire inward. Place the slip stitch marks on the lid to the back. Place the opening of the main trunk on top of the flower pot lid. Position the slip stitch marks to the right. Sew the main trunk between the first round and the third round of the flower pot. On the right side, thread the reserved yarn tail of the main trunk into a sewing needle. Sew it onto the flower pot lid. You can adjust the position as you sew. Finally, tie a knot. Insert the needle into the inside of the trunk. This completes the sewing of the main trunk. Sew the small trunk on the left side of the main trunk. Position the slip stitch marks to the right. The bottom end should be right next to the main trunk. Complete it using the same sewing method as for the main trunk. Once everyone has sewn the small trunk, proceed to sew the leaves. Sew leaf 1 and leaf 2 at the top of the main trunk. Sew leaf 3 at the top of the small trunk. Start by sewing leaf 1 and leaf 2. Insert the wires from leaf 1 and leaf 2 into the magic ring of the main trunk. If the magic ring of the main trunk is too tight, you can use a sewing needle to widen the ring. Then adjust the position to stagger them. The texture of the chains along the edges of the leaves should face upward. You can adjust this based on the finished product or your personal preference. Next, thread the needle with the reserved yarn tail from leaf 1. Sew leaf 1 at the top of the main trunk. Sew each leaf in place. Tie off and insert the knot inside the trunk. Trim any excess yarn tails. Tidy up the shape. This completes the sewing of leaf 1 and leaf 2. For the remaining leaf 3, repeat this process. Sew it at the top of the smaller trunk. Make sure all leaves are sewn in place. That concludes the explanation of sewing the leaves. Next, sew on the decorations. Attach the large and small coins to the pot lid. Start with the large coin. Sew the large coin evenly around the edge of the trunk base. Thread the yarn tail through the sewing needle. Sew it onto the pot lid. Finally, fasten off and weave in the end. Sew the remaining large coins using the same method. You can refer to the finished product for exact placement. Alternatively, sew them according to your own preference. Next, sew on the small coin. Take out a small coin. Thread the yarn tail through the sewing needle. Ensure the right side of the small coin faces out. That is, the side with the clearer texture should face out. Then insert the yarn tail into the inside of the small coin. Come out from the bottom end. Then sew it onto the right side of the large coin. Sew a few stitches. Finally, tie off. Insert it into the inside of the pot lid. Trim any excess yarn tails. This completes the sewing of the small coin. Sew the remaining small coins using the same method. Next, sew the large and small coconuts. Attach the large coconut at the seam where the big tree trunk meets the leaves. You can stagger their positions as you sew them. Make sure everyone sews both the large and small coconuts properly. Then, glue the large and small pearls onto the coins and pot lid. Apply glue on the pearls. This completes the gluing of one pearl. Glue the remaining pearls using the same method. Refer to the finished product for specific positions and quantities. Alternatively, you can place them according to your own preference. Make sure to glue the large and small pearls properly. This concludes the assembly instructions. Up to this point, the entire tutorial for this potted plant is now complete. If you have any unclear points during the process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get support. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.